Boards, board games, board games. I might be talking about a deck construction game, but I'm not gonna shout. It's something that's a quite big project, not the initial thing, but what I want from it, because I guess I'm hoping it's going to be going for infinite time until it expires in a million. Anyway, board games and deck construction games is what I'm talking about. Deck construction game, and I'm not gonna shout. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are. 10 a.m. is UK time for Busy Beats and Board Game Bladder. And today, it's a wee bit of, hey, what am I thinking about in terms of this design diary, like this deck construction game that I started on Friday. Like I say, I started it on Friday, so it's been mulling around my mind. And of course, I've been playing. Well, I played Magic the Gathering in the early 90s. Back when it was, I think, third edition. Fourth edition, I think, was just coming out. So it was fairly early on. And I love deck construction games. I love the notion of putting together the pieces, and sure, there's the allure of the collectability of thinking, oh, I could get that. And I have all these extra possibilities. But I think deeper than that is the idea of I've got these pieces and I could put them together in different ways. And it's that potential synergy that, yes, it also comes to the front in any drafting game, in any deck building game, but having your deck before you start the game does give you this deep sense of ownership, and it makes you feel like, yeah, there's a joy to be had with deck construction. And when I say I'm making a deck construction game, that's not just a, hey, here it is, and hopefully there'll be a few people who play it and then they play. No, for that, there needs to be some organized play for sure. It needs to grow. I want it to last a very long time. And when I say it's a big project, that's the reason. Not because of the first release, but because whatever I make needs to be the best thing set up for the future. Now, there's a bunch of possibilities here. When I look at everything that could be done, everything that has been done, I mean, ultimately, what people really liked is the modularity. I had cards kind of like dominoes, you shove them together, and there's a lovely sense of building your own thing, building your own creature. And we had creatures, we had gizmos, and I'm thinking, how about cities? So currently, creatures are the things that used to attack and potentially defend and potentially steal resources or whatever. And gizmos generally give you resources and give you this and give you that. And okay, gizmos now allow you to create bigger and better spells, and boom. Then was thinking maybe, and currently the win condition in the first three games that we played was either reduce your opponent's life to zero or get a certain number of resources. Now I'm thinking maybe there should be a third thing that you're building, maybe a city, maybe the city is on the card back, maybe each card, rather than having two options, either you do this or you do this, maybe you can also do whatever's on the back, and every back is a city, and then you're kind of building these defenses. And if you want the spell, or you want the creature, or you want the gizmo bit, or then boom, you put that down and you activate that. But maybe you've got a wall and you're constructing your cards to make something there that when the creatures attack, that will do something. But then that means that your city is going to be this big, vaguely homogeneous thing, and it's just a case of, well, each card essentially gives me one victory 1 life point. If the goal is changed from destroy the life to destroy the city, which does seem marginally more interesting. And you could have some city bits on the front, like you wouldn't need too many because you'd still have all of these bits on the back, and it could be a case of, well, you've got yeah, you starts off with 6 city cards, I don't know, and then as the game goes, like bits fall off, and eventually it's like, no, my city's gone, and that's all I can do. There's a lot to ponder. I mean, is the attacking correct? Should you be able to attack, assuming that the creatures are primarily about attacking, which makes intuitive sense, and that's why, yes, it's been done in hundreds of other games, but it feels like there's a reason why it's been done in so many games, and it's because it makes intuitive sense, and you can't fight human intuition. So maybe, like in the third game that we played, we decided that rather than creatures dealing that much attack to the player, sure, one creature might have 5 attack and the other creature has 4 attack, and the 5 attack would be the 4 attack creature, but whatever strength the creature is, it still only deals 1 damage to the player, which is kind of an interesting idea. I mean, the other way to do it might be that you have to deal a certain damage per round, kind of like in a Vegas showdown. Well, like you need to deal at least 2 damage. Otherwise, it just gets replenished. But if you deal 2 damage, you destroy a bit of the city. If you deal 3 damage, well, it gets wasted. But if you deal 4 damage, great. Like it could be something like that, where you've got to deal multiples of damage, or maybe for the person's life points, there's certain resilience. But then again, I don't want the typical styles. Typically it's all about play patterns, and you've got your aggro decks with your weenies, your tiny little creatures, and go boom, boom, boom. And then you've got your big creature where you're spending time building up to this big creature, and everything's all about getting this big creature on the board, and then eventually it's like, shoo, smash you in the face. And for sure, there needs to be different tempos available, different styles of play available. It can't just be, this is what I'm doing, sure, but within that, what subset of what specific strategy are you using within this broad objective? Because in the same way that in chess there can be lots of different strategies that, to be honest, they only become really apparently different to an expert in a CCG. Part of the whole joy of it, or in a deck construction game, let me call them DCGs. In the DCG, part of the joy of it is that personal expression, and I want to be able to make something that's uniquely mine, and make a sort of build a strategy, maybe see, oh, this and that could go together in a way that maybe no one else would have thought of. Is that possible with so few cards? I mean, if there's 54 cards, sure, there's like 2 ways to put them up, but 100 times 100, that's a lot. I mean, that's 10,000. So it's more than I can realist. Even 50 times 50 would be 2,500. So I'm not going to sit there and there there might easily be something that we miss. We can't. Me and the few playtesters that I managed to garner to really delve into this game, we can't, even within a 50 card deck, like there's not quite the possibility to know literally everything. It's like, in any CCG, sure, they normally come up with 100, 200, whatever cards, and then it gets to the end and it's like, wait a minute, this is way overpowered compared to what we thought. Okay, that should probably be banned. Or And no one's really happy with that. But yeah, so my question right now is, how much should I change? How much should I explore within one broad framework before completely overhauling it all? And there's definitely a balance to be struck there. Because on one level, if I come up with the most radically different DCG that you could imagine, but I keep the modularity because that's the one thing that people enjoyed. So that's the one thing that I should probably keep. It's going to be less different compared to um, the previous version when I compare it to like the previous version compared to nothing, because that first iteration, there's the danger to say, okay, this is what I did, and so that's how it's going to be, or that's how it came to me. And like, I feel like every aspect of a game should be examined. Every aspect should be something that you ponder and then you think about, is this right for the game? And can you do it by just theory crafting and thinking, oh, maybe it's 5 cards, maybe it's 3 cards. And sure, in the first 3 playtests, I made marginal changes. I added a few extra cards. I played with the hand size. To start off with, it was draw 5. I think it was, no, draw 7, and then keep 3 of them, put 4 of them to the bottom. That was in lieu of a mulligan. That was to slightly reduce the luck, and I'm aware that this does increase the reliability and reduce variability quite a bit, because you're seeing, if your deck is only 20 cards, you're seeing 35% of your deck straight off before the first turn even starts, which is a lot. But I made changes like going from that to, okay, you draw 5 cards and that's that, to, okay, cards have an innate value. You can discard one for a resource. Let's see how that goes. Okay, start off with resources. Let's see how that goes. Okay, start off with fewer resources. Okay, in this game, life is going to run differently. In the previous ones, it was based on the creature's attack. Now it's just 1 damage per creature that attacks, and then the creature deck still managed to win, which was interesting. And there was 1 creature heavy deck, 1 kind of long, slow, drawn out deck. I think that, sure, I tweaked it, but did I really dig into it? I mean, maybe, yeah, like in the first prototype, every card was either a base, which means 2 sections that you grow bits off of, or it was a domino style thing where 1/2 is a module to be added to a base and 1/2 is a one-time effect. You could use it for one or the other, or in game free discard it for resources. But is that right? I mean, I did that for simplicity, so it was like, yeah, this is what a card looks like. But maybe there's a card with 2 one-time effects on it. Maybe there's a card with 2 modules and you have to choose one. Maybe it is a module and a one-time effect all the time, but you're allowed to choose both of them. So you do the one-time effect, but you need to pay for it, and you need to pay for the module at the same time. So that's going to be more of a late game effect. But then now your cards have more utility. Would that be interesting? Or would it mean that late game people are forced to play the entire cards and it gets rid of the interesting, okay, within each card there's already this binary choice. So there's definitely a lot to ponder. Maybe instead of being played face down to make a city, maybe cards can be played face down to give a generic resource every turn. And of course, the gizmo outputs and general costs would have to be increased. And I guess this is a reminder to myself to change all these things, but at the same time, going back to the other hand, you do want to make sure you fully examined one version of the game so you can say, yeah, this is what it looks like. Because there are things that make lots of intuitive sense, that were proposed, that seem really exciting, like the idea of every creature needs to be finished before it attacks. That makes sense. Let's make that the rule. You need to finish a creature before you can do anything with it. And some of the creature starting bodies have fewer bits, which means that yes, you can add fewer bits to them, but you're going to be able to start attacking sooner. And I think that it's important to examine this broad framework and before I jump to the next bit. So, in the question of how much should I explore one version before totally changing it, I think the answer, to myself at least, and maybe to you if you are pondering the same for your game, is to play it enough that I feel like I understand this broad space reasonably well. I don't need to understand it perfectly, but that I've got a good handle on it. Have I got a good handle on this set of rules yet? No, probably not. I'll maybe keep it as it is for at least one, maybe two more playtest sessions, see how it goes. And but then after that, yeah, all bets are off. It can all change. Now, as always, I'd like to quickly chat about recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights. Recent highlights. My recent highlight is going to be that I went up to Kentish Town and had some delicious ice cream. I went to the ice cream, I tasted 3 different ice creams, all new. Like so many, apparently they change them all the time. Like I discovered this ice cream place a week ago, and then now they had a new blackcurrant and licorice, which was really interesting. The flavors combined to make a powerful. That's what I ended up going with. The other one I had was Sicilian lemon, so much zest of lemon, of orange, so much citrus going on in there. It was delicious. And one that I had was like hazelnuts from a particular region where it was really earthy. Like, and yeah, sitting down with that licorice, that was nice. And so, yeah, brilliant thing. What's a little thing which is brilliant? I'm going to say that decorations. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm thinking about the ice cream still, and I'm thinking about the spots of licorice and a few blackberries that were put on top of the ice cream. And of course, when you scoop out the ice cream, that's not what you get. You don't get actual chunks of licorice or blackberries. It's all blended, it's all smooth. But that clearly tells you what's going on. And so the decoration, sure, it's visually, it makes it a lot more interesting and it tells you what's going on rather than it just being a smear of one solid color. But also, the nice thing is that it just makes it prettier. So, yeah, decoration, whether it's a board game or an ice cream, it's what you want. As always, comment, ask questions, fun like follow. But my question of the day to you is question of the day. Here's a little question before we go on our way. My question of the day to you is so, do you feel how important do you feel the story is? Because again, I'm thinking about my friend Alan, who was playing the game and saying, yeah, the thing that's stopping me from saying, yes, this would be a lifestyle game potentially, is that it has no flavor, there's no story, there's nothing to tell me why I'm doing this. And I understand that's their motivation. That's what motivates them to play. For me, my motivation is getting into the mechanisms and considering the ramifications, how this rule connects with this rule, and then it grinds or gears. This is supposed to be like gears or cogs turning. But yeah, how important is the story in a game to you? That's what I'm asking. For me personally, not very important. I would say on a scale of 1 to 5, maybe a 1.5. Yeah, let me know what you think. Over to you. What are you up to? You can share button if you want to. Um, I've, I'm about to do a few minor admin things. Um, Sending off some stuff. I'll hopefully be out for a whole bunch today and might even have my friends over. And I'm really looking forward to that. What about you? Is there something that you have to do, something you want to do? Please share. I promise I care. Recap and wrap up before we finish up. So, to recap and wrap up, I made a game. I made a few changes while I was playing it 3 times. I'll make a few more changes before the next game. But fundamentally, I think that I want to keep it the same until I've understood this broad framework, because there is new stuff going on. And I want to replay with these broad rules until I understand that a little bit better. But there are other opportunities and there are other possibilities for changing the core structure, and I really shouldn't shy away from them. And yeah, every now and then when it feels like it's about to get settled, yeah, because you can't just try something once with one playtest session and feel like you've given it a proper go. Try it, change the cards around it, change everything, give it a bit of time, and be like, okay, now I get it. And maybe you'll understand. I say you, this is all about me, let's be honest. If you want to check me out, I am Stuff by Bears in all of the places. Um, what am I chatting about? Tomorrow is another solo show. Wednesday will be with Jess, and I'll be. Yeah, you can. I don't have much planned, but you can see on the StreamYard's link there. Thank you very much, everyone. Share, spread the word, and the only thing left for me to say for now is, of course, bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Blue, blue, bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Blue, blue, bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Blue, 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 bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, bye, everyone. Bye, bye, bye.